Yeah, it kills me when I hear people say, well, I don't have enough money to get started. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. What do you guys do at night or in your downtime? Well, we watch YouTube. Okay. Have you ever run across this guy named Gary V? All right.
Yep.
Gary
Yep.
Vaynerchuk. He talks about how, you can go to garage sales. You can buy cheap toys and dolls and stuff, and you could sell them. He turning trash into treasure. He'd sell them on eBay and make money. I bet for everybody out there that says, hey, I can't get started in real estate because I don't have even $100 or $250 to get started. Okay. I bet I could walk you, if you invited me into your home, we could walk around your home and you and I could point out several things that you haven't even physically touched in 6 months.
Yep.
That you could put on eBay today, have sold, put that money into your real estate business, get some leads, make some phone calls, change your life, right?
Yep. Yep.
Is it really the $100 that keeps you from getting started, or is that just an excuse? It sounds to me like it might just be an excuse.
You're listening to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show, a podcast that discusses the intricacies of real estate investing with your host, Marcus E. Maloney. Marcus is a real estate investor best known for being the equity king. He's been awarded that moniker because he and his team find amazing real estate deals. He will be talking with investors who have done some transformational things in the real estate industry. They'll discuss their process, their strategies, and how their investments transform their lives and the communities they invest in. We welcome you to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show.
Hey, We Love Equity Real Estate family. I am excited today. Welcome to another show. We have Justin Chamness on the line today. Justin is based out of Kansas City, Missouri. He is a wholesaler. He does things with lease options, wholesaling, and virtual lease option and wholesaling. So I wanted to bring somebody in today to talk to you guys directly in regards to getting started, helping you get started, helping you find leads, where you can find those leads at, and things like that. So I brought Justin in so we can talk about that. So Justin, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Mr. Marcus Maloney, thank you, sir. I really appreciate the invitation. It's an honor to be here.
All right, so we're going to welcome Justin with a round of applause. Thank you, Justin, for being here, man. It's always an honor when we have somebody because, we're all busy. We're all doing things, but to take an hour out of your time, out of your day to be with us, we thank you. So, Justin, introduce us to Justin Chamness.
Yeah, well, I'm just a normal guy. I'm a guy sitting in a podcast with another guy.
There we go. Simple.
That's about it, man. I've had 1,000 different jobs, so it's hard for me to say, oh, well, I've got a background in this or that. Most of the jobs I've had, I used to be a preacher.
Okay.
And my dad's a minister, and I didn't know what to do after high school, so I just followed in his footsteps for probably nearly a decade. Something towards the end of that decade, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the right fit for me, and I was kind of coming into who I am. Finally, I don't know if anybody else out there is a late bloomer, but
me, I'll raise my hand. I'm definitely a late bloomer.
I'm definitely a late bloomer. So in my late 20s, I was like, I think I'm going to lay down the clergy and start something myself, and man, that was tough. I'd always had real estate in my heart and in my mind. I've been studying some real estate too so far as a preacher. But then when I got out of the ministry, I found that the transitioning just cold turkey right into something full time for yourself was just really tough to do. And so I've had 1,000 jobs, and most of them I've been fired from. I'm one of those people that's categorically unemployable, like I just don't do good with jobs, and I have a real strong distaste for jobs. So I think that's really what spurred me on to doing anything in real estate and having any of the success that I do have is my distaste for clocking in and clocking out. I hate it.
Hey, I feel you on that one, man. We don't like the whole job aspect where someone controls your life, tell you when to come in, when to go out, Although if you're working a job, we definitely understand, everyone has to start at some point, but you know what? It's just not for everybody. And it wasn't for me. as well. So Justin, making that transition, man, from the clergy to real estate, how was that mind shift? How did that happen?
Well, it was hard. Um, I got started, I guess, while I was a preacher, studying, and I bought a course off eBay. I don't know if anybody's guilty of that, but it used to be a great place to buy courses. Like you go to the guy's website and you pay thousands, you go to eBay, you get it for $100, right?
Yep.
I was one of those guys. I went to eBay and I bought a Ron LeGrand course. It was a lease options course. And I also bought an Ugly House course, but once I got it, I was kind of bored with it. And I didn't want to really even go through the course. And so I was really more interested in this lease options thing. So, because he was talking about doing pretty house deals, pretty houses with no equity and making money. And I thought, well, man, this has got to be for me, because there's tons of houses out there with no equity, I'm sure. And right. So I'd been studying this, but you could only get so far with a course that came in a 3-ring binder that you bought for $99 on eBay. I knew a lot of stuff, but I didn't know how to do what I knew.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you get all of the education, but it's not just the education, but it's application also. So guys, hearing it from Justin, you can go out and you can buy these courses. I'm not saying don't educate yourself, but at some point you got to take that theory and put it into action. When I was in college, I had a professor, that was one of his things. He was always saying there's a difference between theory and there's a difference between application, and you have to translate that theory into application. So go ahead. I'm sorry, Justin.
Yeah, no, Marcus, you're absolutely correct. I don't even think I understood that at that time. The difference between theory and being able to apply something, maybe the difference between knowledge and wisdom,
Yeah.
Knowledge is the facts and stuff, and wisdom is what do you do with these facts? And, so I didn't really know the difference of that, I don't think. And so I was just blindly out there trying stuff, and I signed up for I was desperate, right? So back in these days, things were not quite so technical as they are today. And I went ahead and signed up for a website. It was something like we-buy-and-sell-. It was some crazy, I signed up for this service. They were promising to provide motivated seller leads in my market area. So it was like $40 a month or something back then. And I signed up for it, and lo and behold, I got some leads.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So here I am. I'm scared now. I'm nervous. I get the leads. I'm a lease options expert now, right? I know everything there is to know about lease options because I got this course for $99.
This book. Yep.
Yeah. So I call the leads. I got 2 leads this month off this service. And so I called the leads, both of them, and both times didn't have a clue what to say, didn't have a clue how to present this lease option idea to them, didn't have a clue anything, but somehow it worked. I got him on the phone and I said, hey, I'm a real estate investor and I'm looking to buy a house. And he goes, you want to buy this house? You can have this house. You want to come look at it? Come look at it now.
That's it. I
was like, what? Okay. Yeah. I got the address. What time's good? Now it took me a second to gather myself, but now I'm Mr. Big Guy again. Yeah. Okay. I'll be there. So I print out the documents, old school style, print them out. I get a ink pen and I drive over there to the house, and literally in both of these leads, both of them, literally the gentleman who filled out the form online just wanted to walk away from these houses and was willing to do whatever, even though I wasn't polished. I didn't know what to say, didn't know how to do it. So I feel like, in a way, Marcus, I got lucky. I'm one of those lucky guys, because I know there's guys out there who work at this brand new. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to present. We all use the same strategies. We all are doing a sub-2 or a lease option or maybe we're doing a co-wholesale with somebody, or maybe we're just straight ugly house wholesaling. We're all using the same few marketing or the same few techniques and strategies here. And for the most part, we're all nowadays using the same kind of marketing. like ringless voicemail or text blasts or,
Yeah.
driving for dollars and sending postcards or bandit signs, or, there's only probably a half dozen or a dozen things. And most of us fall into those categories. We're doing that. So what really sets you apart is the third thing, and your ability to communicate with the lead and get it to turn into a deal that you can monetize, right?
Hey man, that's golden right there. What you said is we're all doing the same thing. There's no special ringless voicemail message that you can leave. There's no special letter that you can write and send. There's no special text that you can send. We're all doing the same thing. But like you said, it's that rapport building and how can you navigate your road down this lead. So that person that you happen to luck up on, it only takes one deal. He was ready to sell. He was ready to sell and get rid of it. And you happen to hit him at the right time. So
I feel like I kind of got lucky, and eventually my luck ran out though, and I became like everybody else. I got these leads, and now I'm like, for whatever reason, even though I've had success, now I'm experiencing difficulties with the leads.
Yep.
Don't know what to say. These guys, man, they didn't fall for me like these. The last guy, he fell in love with me right away on the phone. What happened? Why is this guy not? What am I doing wrong? And I'm reading the script I got. Is it the script or is it me? Well, it's both, really. It turns out. It's both, but I wanted to learn how to really be good at this. And that was the piece that was missing for me, was how to communicate with these homeowners, how to talk to them and get the leads to convert into deals, so because like you were saying, the marketing, we're all doing the same thing, but you get these leads and now I'm the guy now all of a sudden who I don't even want to call these leads. I remember getting a batch of leads, and I'm not even kidding about this. It was like 89 leads or something. Like I could have called them. Like these were yes and maybe kind of responses here. It was a text blast I'd sent out. And I think I was using Joe Crump's machine at the time.
Okay.
Joe Crump's also another lease options guy, and he's got a text blaster machine. And I've since moved on to a different text blaster, but that one there, it worked pretty good. Now I got 89 leads out of it that day. That's a whole bunch. I think I sent out a whole bunch of texts that day. 89 leads. And here I am scared to call any of them now. Like I just sit here and look at them. And
come on, Justin, you gotta do it.
Exactly, man. And so how did I go from being the guy who just calls them and they just fall right here for me immediately to the guy who now gets leads and is just so scared to call them that I just sit here and just stare at them. And I promise you, I stared at these leads for 2 whole weeks. And finally, I just put them in a trash can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, insane. And I realized at that point that I'm missing something in my business. It's not the strategy or the technique. I got that. It's not the marketing, because I can get the leads. Getting leads nowadays is even easier than it was then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so it's not those things. It's my inability to communicate with confidence and to know what to say and how to talk to a homeowner to get started right. In a script just wasn't enough training for me. So I sat here and stared at these leads. That's when alcoholics refer to it as I had a moment of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
In my real estate addiction, I had a moment of clarity, and that moment of clarity revealed to me who I really was. I was the guy who had for years and years talked about real estate, dreamed about real estate, played around with real estate, but never really, really did real estate. Isn't that crazy?
So you got to tell me this, Justin. Okay, so let's go back, because you gave a lot right there. We're going to talk about the psychological aspect of it, because people don't understand, sometimes when you have all of these leads, and I'm guilty of it too. You look at these leads and you're like, okay, some days your confidence is way high. You feel like you can run through a wall. You can close anybody. You're the closer. You're the man. And then there's days where you just be like, okay, you may talk to 2 or 3 people and they just shut you down immediately. and you're like, okay, am I doing this? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? So let's talk about lead generation, because a lot of people, you said getting the leads are a lot easier than it was before. I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's so many ways to get leads. Like you said, there's text messaging, there's driving for dollars, there's direct mail, there's ringless voicemail, there's SEO on your website, all kind of stuff. So let's kind of talk about some of the lead generation things that somebody getting started can do that don't have a ton of money. What's something that you would advise them on as far as lead gen?
Yeah, I've got a club, and I recommend everybody, if they don't have anywhere to start, if they're in the club, I recommend that they go to a couple different places. One is a website called theautomatedrei.com. Theautomatedrei.com. Now, the automated REI is about the cheapest place you can generate leads that I know of today. You go there, you can scrape Zillow. Okay, you can scrape Craigslist. You can text those scrapes, your message. All right, and all of this stuff costs pennies. All right, to do. You don't have to worry about the do not call list, because these are Zillow, these are Craigslist. They've got their stuff out there on social media looking for people to call them. Okay, so you could, if you wanted leads today, you could go there and get leads for less than 20, 25 bucks, and enough leads to last you today, tomorrow, maybe the next day. So, a great way to get started, very inexpensively. The other place I recommend is PropStream. PropStream is a great tool. It does more than you'll ever know, be honest with you. I mean, it's just that deep. If you're looking for comparables, or you're looking for property values or any of that stuff, it's an awesome tool, but it also will help you generate leads. You can get very specific niche down lists that no one has but you, really.
Absolutely. And I'm going to do a shameless plug. PropStream, go to trial.propstream.com/we-love-equity, and you can get a 30-day free trial. We'll make sure we have that information in the show notes. But you're right. You got PropStream, you have the REI Automator, and the things that you're talking about, especially the REI Automator, you can get started with just a couple of bucks. You got a handful of cash. Instead of going to the movies. Well, you can't go to the movies now, but instead of going out to dinner, you say, hey, I'm gonna invest in myself and start trying to get some leads.
Yeah, it kills me when I hear people say, well, I don't have enough money to get started. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. What do you guys do at night or in your downtime? Well, we watch YouTube. Okay. Have you ever run across this guy named Gary V? All right.
Yep.
Gary Vaynerchuk. He talks about how, you can go to garage sales, you can buy cheap toys and dolls and stuff, and you could sell them. Turning trash into treasure. You sell them on eBay and make money. I bet for everybody out there that says, hey, I can't get started in real estate because I don't have even $100 or $250 to get started. Okay, I bet I could walk you, if you invited me into your home, we could walk around your home and you and I could point out several things that you haven't even physically touched in 6 months.
Yep.
That you could put on eBay today, have sold, put that money into your real estate business, get some leads, make some phone calls, change your life, right?
Yep.
Is it really the $100 that keeps you from getting started, or is that just an excuse? It sounds to me like it might just be an excuse.
That's exactly what it is. It's just excuses. People are making excuses, and that's what I tell them is, you can get started for a little bit of money. Now, I know a lot of people say you could do it with absolutely no money. I'm not that type of believer. I say, you have to have something to start with. I got started with $200. First Premier credit card, $200, and that's how I got started. So guys, there's no excuse. So throw those excuses out the window, shut off the TV, turn off YouTube, turn off Netflix, and get into some lead gen, and start making you some money. So, okay, so we talked about lead generation. So they scrape, Zillow. So they're looking at, nice houses, I'm assuming, on Zillow. So these would probably be lease options or subject to deals or something like that. how do they get in touch with them? So once they scrape them, they get the telephone number. What would be the best way to reach out to them?
Yeah, the machine at theautomatedrei.com will allow you to text. So you can text these homeowners that you've scraped off Zillow or Craigslist. And what I find is there's a number of different people that I'll run across, really. One is an unmotivated seller. Well, oftentimes they won't respond to your text.
Yep.
So you eliminate them right away. So now you're not calling people who are not interested. You'll get interested people reply with interesting type replies, like maybe, or can we talk, or sure, that sounds good, or how long would you want to lease the property before purchasing it, or how does this work, or anything else. These are great people to talk to. These are great leads.
Yep.
And so you'll get those kind of responses, and you'll call those, and you'll be talking to homeowners, and oftentimes it doesn't fit those people either, so it's still a numbers game. What we teach people in my club is how to qualify or disqualify these people in 3 minutes or less. Like, gone are the days, right, of sitting on the phone for 30 to 45 minutes with each of these leads, trying to get down to the nitty gritty to see if it's a deal, and then getting off the phone with a big no, or I'll think about it, or something like that. I mean, that will run your butt right out of the business faster than anything, in my opinion.
Yeah. So Justin, how do you qualify those leads, in 3 minutes or less? What are some of the things that you do to find out if this person is a tire kicker or not?
Yeah, it's a system that we use. It basically is a formula for a conversation that you have on the phone, where we teach you how to introduce yourself. We teach you how to set up the phone call, and the agenda is set up a roadmap for the conversation with the homeowner. And then really there's 4 questions that you need to know to establish this person's motivation level. And you can do all 4 questions in less than 3 minutes. One is why do they want to sell the property?
Yep.
That's a question that you have to ask. You have to find out why they want to sell the property. I like to ask it like this: how long have you lived in the property, and why would you be wanting to sell today?
There you go.
That's it. So that's the why question. Then you need to find out about the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're always afraid to talk about money, but you need to know about the money. Are they flexible on purchase price? How did you come to this purchase price, and what do you believe the property is worth? Yep. That's the question. That's what I like to ask. All of these will indicate motivation. Their answers will. So another question you must ask is the timing question. Are you interested in selling this property, doing something with it, getting it off your plate today? Or is this something that you'd like to do maybe next month, or after you have an open house, or after you do this or that or the other thing?
Yep.
There's times we talk to homeowners and they're not really ready to do something today. They've got other plans. They've got a vacation ahead. They've got an open house planned for the Saturday after they come back, and they're not really interested in doing anything till after that. Well, I need to know that, because I don't want to spend 45 minutes on the phone with this person just to find that out, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
The 4th thing, so we got the why, we got the money, we got the timing, and then we got number 4 is the commitment. Are you able to make a commitment? Is there anybody else that needs to be involved in this besides you? And if I make an offer that meets your needs today and solves your issues, can you do business with me today? That's it. Now the rest, people are like, well, you didn't ask anything about the property. Oh no, we might get into that if he qualifies.
Yep. Yeah, because it makes no difference about the property if he can't answer those 4 questions, and those 4 questions fit within the right box. So that's good. So it's go over them once again, Justin.
It's the why. Why do you want to sell? Number 2 is the money. How did you come to this purchase price, and what do you believe the house is worth? And find out if there's a money problem going on there with the homeowner. Number 3 is the timing. Is he ready to do something with me today? Because I'm an investor looking to get a property deal today. I don't want to wait 3 months after calling the guy 16 times. And then number 4 is he the guy that can make a commitment? Is he able to make a commitment, or does he need to discuss with the missus? Because if he needs to discuss with the missus, I might as well wait to present until I can get her on the phone too.
Right.
See, so I'm not wasting time with people I can't close. And once I discovered this, it makes it easier for me in my business to do 65 deals a year.
There you go, guys.
If you think about it, I mean, I'm not wasting all of this time with unmotivated people that I can't close.
So that's good. So guys, you got Justin just gave you a way to find leads. He gave you what to say on the phone when you're talking to these leads and how to close them. So again, we're throwing out all of the excuses on today, especially for those that are getting started. We're throwing out the excuses. Here you go right here. And what we're talking about is almost little to no money, in order to try and get that first deal, done. So Mike, okay, you had this conversation with the seller. What's next? He or she qualifies. What are we doing next? Are you going out to the house to take a look at the house? Kind of what's what?
No, we rarely ever need to go take a look at a house. We live in a virtual world, and I am a virtual girl.
There you go. There you go.
I love to do things virtually. So once a homeowner is qualified in those 3 minutes of questions, then we'll go ahead and discuss with them. We'll present the offer. If it does fit, it does solve their problems, and they say yes, then we'll virtually send an agreement using an e-signature program like .loop or DocuSign or HelloSign, or any of those will work. And there's others as well. So once we get an agreement, then we just market that property. So we're going to market that property deal in the same places that we found the property deal, usually, which is Craigslist. We're going to put it on Facebook Marketplace. It's huge nowadays. You can put a fake ad up just to test it if you don't believe me, and you'll have people responding to your fake shit, right? Sorry for the language. It's just where everybody is. So Facebook Marketplace is a great resource for us. We will also boost that post, which means we put a little money on it. We put $5 on it or something like that a day, and they'll put it out to more people. Many times, if that's not bringing the kind of action and activity we want, we'll run a paid ad in that zip code.
Okay.
And so tenant buyers will start coming in. Usually they'll message us or text us first, so we can ask them and qualify them. We need to know. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this real quick, Justin. So, because this happened to me when I got started. So everyone would always say, get the property under contract. This wasn't a lease option deal. This was just a regular wholesale deal. Get the property under contract, and then put it out there on the web, put it out there on Zillow, put it out there on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, so on and so forth. Have you ever had an incident where the same seller saw that ad in those places online?
Yeah. We actually asked the homeowner to take down some of his marketing for us to be able to effectively do what we do.
Gotcha.
Yes, it does happen, and that's a routine thing that we do. And we find that if we've built confidence with this homeowner, he's okay with pulling down his Zillow ad. He's okay with pulling down a Facebook ad. However, our agreement really is not exclusive either. So he could beat us to the punch here. He could find somebody before us. That's okay. We just ask him if he's kind enough to remove some of his marketing so that we can do what we do. And most of the time they're cool with that. But I have had some homeowners before we started asking. I have had them come to me and say, hey, what's the deal with this ad up here? My house is on Craigslist again, and blah, blah. And I have to explain to them again, it's a new process for them. It's something that they haven't done before. So I have to explain to them again, well, like I said, what we're doing is we're trying to place a tenant buyer in there. So that's why the numbers are different and things look different too.
Yeah.
So, most of the time they're totally fine with it once you explain to them what's going on. In some cases, one in particular that I remember, I had a homeowner get riled up because they didn't see the ad, but a friend of theirs saw the ad and let them know. And now that's hearsay, right? So they get extra fired up about that. And but just talking to them and explaining to them what you're doing, and you should be able to do this wholesale game with transparency, right?
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
This isn't a scam or a scheme or a con job. This is a legitimate real estate investing technique. And so you should be able to do it with transparency. You should be able to, as soon as you pick up the phone, with the homeowner, say, hi, I'm Justin. I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking to buy another property deal today. I saw this one online. I wanted to call you and ask you a few questions. You're not holding back anything. You're telling them that you're an investor. Later, when the question comes, hey, are you going to be living in the property? Okay. Because they like to ask that question a lot. Oh, no, Mr. Homeowner, I'm not. That, we can be transparent here and honest. No, Mr. Homeowner, I'm not going to be living in the property. Here's what I want to do. I want to put some good people in there. And yes, I want to make a little bit of money, but I also want this to be a great solution for you. Does that seem unreasonable, or can we go ahead and move forward, or maybe not? That's honest. How you can't get any more honest than that.
That's it. And that's all it takes, Justin, is, a lot of people, and because I'll tell you, my situation was, it was a wholesale deal, and the mom went with me, outside of some other investors that came in and took a look at it, because she said of my integrity, we were talking, and I put the property on Zillow, and her daughter called me and was like, hey, why is mom's property on Zillow? And I just let her know, hey, yes, we are buying it. We do have partners that buy property, so we put it up there, so our buyers can take a look at it. What we promised you is still what you're going to get, but we're looking at, something on the back end as well. And like you said, just be transparent. And, they was like, oh, okay, as long as I get my 105, like you promised me,
right,
I don't care, and that's the thing, is that, sometimes we get in our own way, we think of these imaginary roadblocks. Well, what if this, what if that? If it happens, then you face that obstacle, that objection, and you overcome it, by talking and explaining the process to them. And that's exactly what you said that you did.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. You're right. We do get in our own way. We make this harder than it is, and we invent imaginary roadblocks and problems, and really just being honest and upfront really goes a long way. It adds so much to the likability and trustability, which brings so much to the deal.
Yep. It does. And it makes it easy, because like you said, people want to do business with they know, like, and trust. And if they know, like you and trust you, then when you talk to them, they're going to say, okay, well, this person does have my best interest at heart, and his best interest or her best interest at heart.
Sure.
And that's the thing that you have to explain to them, that, this is going to be a win-win for both parties. I'm not just looking at this just for me. So tell me, Justin, give me some numbers on one of your latest deals that you did. Let's kind of walk through that, how you found it, and the conversation, and the disposition.
Recently did a deal in Iowa. Now I'm in Kansas City. And so doing a deal in rural, it's kind of rural Iowa, a little town, it's just outside of a little town called Waterloo, if anybody's ever heard of that.
Waterloo, Iowa. Yeah. So before we even get there, how did you, your mind is saying, okay, I'm in Kansas City, this property is in Iowa. First of all, how did you find it? And what made you even think that you can do this, being up and down in Kansas City, and it's in Iowa?
One of my favorite questions I ask a homeowner once I've qualified him as a motivated homeowner, he's flexible, willing to work with us. I believe it could be a deal. I spend a little more time with him on the phone. He's agreeable to things. I'll say, Mr. Homeowner, what was your plan for showing the property? Okay, that's it. I mean, the homeowner has a plan. I mean, he's thought about this, well, I'll be there to show the property myself, or my brother has a key and he'll come over, or there's a lockbox on it, or something. So we just work with the homeowner to show a property, and that's how we do it virtually. I got the lead from theautomatedrei.com. It was a scrape and a blast that I did on Zillow. And I'm talking to the homeowner. He sent back I sent a text blast out. He sent back a message that was not a no. And so I called the guy up and talked to him for 3 minutes. I asked him those questions about the why, and why he would want to sell, the money and the timing and his commitment level, and everything seemed good. So we went ahead and talked with him a little bit further, and turns out that him and his wife are needing to move due to work. Okay, so during this pandemic stuff, they've needed to shuffle some things around. He's an electrician, and she is some kind of a artsy craftsy person or something.
Okay.
I don't know. She builds something, bracelets or something.
Yep.
But they need to move because he's taking some kind of a union position someplace else in a different city, and it's something he needs to get to pretty quickly. So they're ready to go. They need to move. They don't have a lot of equity in this house either. So it's a great opportunity for somebody to come in with a creative option for these folks, because their normal options don't exist. Going to a realtor and getting a realtor, they don't have enough equity for that. So the house is worth about $228,000, and they owe about $225,000. So here we go now. No room for a realtor, and they got to go. What do they do? What can they do? Well, the first thing that pops in their heads is, I'll put it on Zillow myself. I'll try to sell this thing for sale by owner. Well, they're not really wired for this. He's an electrician, and she's an artsy craftsy person. So, selling property is not something that they have experience with, and they're struggling with it, So when I call them, they're open to ideas. And so we talk to them, we get the deal. We put the house up on these social media sites we were talking about before.
Yep.
And with Facebook, you can really target down into that part of Iowa, even though I'm outside of Iowa. Once we have a tenant buyer prospect lined up, I have a course called Outsourced Lease Options 2.0. And in that course, there is a document called the Appointment Confirmation Memo. And the Appointment Confirmation Memo is something I send to the homeowner via .loop or DocuSign or HelloSign when the tenant buyer is lined up and ready to go into the house to take a look at it. And in other words, I've pre-qualified them a little bit. I found out they have some money to put down into the deal, which for a non-refundable option fee.
Gotcha.
And so my profit's there. So I just need to go make sure they go in and take a look at the property. How do I keep this homeowner from circumventing me, taking that tenant buyer, screwing me out of the deal? Because I'm doing this virtually.
Right.
Well, this appointment confirmation memo is a document that just the homeowner gets. It has the name of the tenant buyer prospect on it, as well as the seller's, as well as mine. And it says in there that the seller and I have an agreement previous to this one that he acknowledges is still in place, and that he also acknowledges that this tenant buyer belongs to me, and that he's not going to do any real estate transaction with this tenant buyer outside of me for at least 6 months.
Okay.
And then they'll sign that thing. And so now I have a commitment, right, that the homeowner is not going to circumvent me. He's not going to screw me here. And that he's also going to show the property at this particular day and this particular time for me, all virtual.
That's good. And that was going to be one of my questions was, how do you avoid the seller, circumventing you and going directly to your tenant buyer? So, that memo document is real good. He signed it, you sign it. So now you have a mutual agreement in case he does that, God forbid, you can go to court, but at least leverage, with the seller. Hey, we got this agreement, and I don't want to have to use this agreement. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
What do you do to qualify? What did you do to qualify that tenant buyer?
That's a great question, Marcus. In other words, they contact us, and we need to know a few things. First, we need to know, one, are they interested in just renting something, or are they interested in renting to own something? Because this is not a rental. This is a rent to own opportunity. I like to call it a rent until you can purchase it opportunity.
Gotcha.
Okay. Rent to own, we've all seen the commercials, and maybe some of us have gotten a couch or two that way. Rent to own, it almost has a bad,
stigma.
Yeah. And so I like to say it's a rent or a lease until you can purchase it opportunity. That's just something, I just invented that. So if you guys want to use that too, go ahead. But yeah, I like to call it something a little different. And I want to make sure this person that's coming to me about the property deal is truly looking to rent to own and not just rent. And if they are looking to rent to own, that's great. Then I want to find out if they have 2 years of good rental history. I'm just going to ask them, hey, if I talk to your landlords for the last couple of years, are they going to tell me any bad stories? Okay. If everything seems on the up and up there, then I'm going to ask them if they have enough income to support the payment. Okay. All right. So the payment, I'm going to ask them if they have at least 3 times what the payment is in income. If they don't, then they can't afford to live here. And then I'm going to ask them how much money they have as far as a pay to play fee. There is a reasonable down payment required here. Okay. Now, we know it's a non-refundable option fee, and I'm going to explain that to them. But this is a question I must know. Okay. I must know if they have any cash, because I don't want to go show this property, bother the homeowner, do all this stuff just to find out this person doesn't have my paycheck.
Right. Gotcha.
Right. So I want to make sure that if all that seems good, I'm going to wrap it up with one last question. And that is, if I run a background check on you, and we typically do, is there anything there that you don't want me to see? Are we clean? Are we good? Okay. Now this is going to be a tenant screen. This is going to be a background check, and they're going to pay for it. All right. They're going to use a website called mysmartmove.com. Gotcha. It's a TransUnion thing. So one of the 3 major credit bureaus, and they'll do a tenant screen, the background check, the whole 9 yards, and they'll charge them for it. But it allows me to see who I'm working with. Now, if they're all cool with all of that, then I'll use the appointment confirmation memo with the homeowner, set an appointment, get them to take a look at the inside. If they like the inside, great. Let's get the money out. Let's get the papers out.
There we go. Let's make it happen. How do you set your non-refundable option deposit? How much do you normally set it for? Is it a percentage of what the property is worth? How can we, how do you justify, okay, it's going to be 15,000, 10,000 versus, 1,500 or 3,000?
Yeah. So, we use a rule of thumb. Basically, we like to say for a 2 or 3 year lease, we like to go for 10%.
Okay.
But you can check this and verify this by going to Zillow. Really, if you put the property address in Zillow, you can scroll down and you can see where it'll say what the average appreciation for this area is, for this zip code, for this neighborhood. And you'll see that in most places it's 2 or 3%. So, 3% times 3 years, 36 months is 9%. So about 10%. So
okay.
if we pick up a deal there in that area, then we're going to immediately, if we're at full market value with our contract with the homeowner, that's okay, because I'm still going to be able to add that appreciation on for the 36-month term that we have it for. So that creates that 10% paycheck for me. Now that might be 15,000, that might be 10,000, it might be something different, but it's this basically a percentage that we're working off of.
Okay. And then I had a question. I'm trying to think of where I was going with this question. Can't quite think of it. It'll come back to me. Back to me. So, what do you do? Oh, I know what my question was. Do you stay in the deal, or do you do everything and now it's just between the tenant buyer and the owner, or are you staying in the deal?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it depends on the deal. The deal I was talking about in Iowa, $228,000 value. He owes $225,000. I think if I remember right, I don't have it sitting in front of me, we marked it up to about $240,000 on a 3-year term. We collected, I believe it was $12,500. So, I mean, we adjusted the numbers to make all that work. I don't put a number for down payment on the ad.
Gotcha.
The reason I don't do that is because then I might be selling myself short. You know, the number one rule in negotiations is the first person that names the price loses, right? So I don't want to be the guy that says I'm looking for 7,500 when a guy has 12,500 he could throw in. But I know that I can't ask more than that. I can't ask for more than that
10%.
equity.
Yeah.
So I have it in mind. But if a tenant comes to me and a tenant buyer prospect and they qualify, they look good, they smell good, everything looks real nice. They don't have 10%, but they got 7.5%, or they got 5%, but I like them and it's still a nice chunk of money. I might do that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then I also might create a promissory note where they can pay me money monthly to make up the difference. I don't know. I have some options here. But typically I'm assigning that deal over to the tenant buyer and then walking away. They're going to put that money down. I'm going to put it in my pocket, assign this deal over to them, and I'm going to walk away. I'm not legally obligated to do anything. I'm not at risk for anything. And technically I'm completely 100% out of this deal.
Gotcha.
If there is a deal though that has a lot of equity and it makes sense for me to sandwich it, I can maybe the rent that I would have to pay the seller is $1,000 a month, but I can get $500 a month from the tenant buyer. I mean, $1,500 a month from the tenant buyer. That means I make $500 a month.
Right.
I might stay in the middle of that one.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
Get that extra passive income there, you know? So tell me, Justin, this is going to be our last question before we take a quick break. So we went over the numbers and everything like that. How is that deal going right now? Because that was in what, April? You said that deal.
Oh no, we did this deal about 3 weeks ago.
Okay,
yeah.
sweet. Did it 3 weeks ago. So you solved the problem for the seller, so
Yes.
they were able to move and move because of his job, and you solved the problem for the tenant buyer. And you was able to make 12 grand, 13 grand in the deal. Absolutely. So we'll stop right here, take a brief pause. We'll come back and we'll talk about, your team, how you structured everything like that. So guys, we'll be right back. We'll take a brief minute and we'll come back with Justin.
PropStream is the industry's #1 tool for locating distressed properties and connecting with highly motivated sellers. With 100% coverage across the U.S., PropStream provides a deep dive into any property's specific details, making it easy to generate lists of distressed properties and contact to the owners. No other product or service can compare. Gain access to MLS property details like expired listings. You can pull accurate comps, even sale prices in non-disclosure states. This information is typically reserved for licensed real estate professionals, but is also available to you in PropStream. Gain access to unlimited nationwide property search, comparable home sales, targeted marketing lists, and owner contact lookup, built-in marketing tools, hundreds of filters to search and sort leads. Start your free 7-day trial now by going to proud.propstreampro.com/WeLoveEquity.
All right, Justin, we are back, man. Thank you for going through the steps and the processes with that Iowa deal where you did the lease option. So now let's kind of talk about where you're at right now. And are you doing this independently yourself? Can somebody do it if it's just them, or do they need a team in order to do this?
Yeah, great question. You can absolutely do this by yourself. If you have a good plan, it's like baking a cake, and you got a recipe on the back of the box. If you just follow the steps and you have a plan, a system, a process, and if you're a person that can put this on the calendar on a habitual basis, in other words, generate leads on a regular basis. I'm always saying to the club that on a day that you don't have leads, you have to ask yourself, am I self-employed or am I just straight unemployed? I got no leads. You got no leads. What do you got? You don't have a business. Yeah. So you got to get leads, and you got to do these things consistently. So set it on your calendar to every Monday. You go to one of these platforms and you generate leads for the week. Or if you're the person that can discipline themselves to do something, and I'm saying like take an hour or two, not like all day. This isn't full-time work, and nobody wants to get into real estate to have another job. I don't think.
Right.
So, but you can't miss the hour or two. You have to do the hour or two. So set it on your calendar and then do it every week consistently. You can absolutely do this by yourself. You can get the leads easy and inexpensively. You can make the calls yourself. You can close the deal, send out the agreements. You can throw that puppy back up on social media and have people ringing you up trying to give you money. Yeah, it's not that hard to do, but you have to have the recipe, right? You have to follow the steps. And I think that's an issue for a lot of us. We're not following the steps, maybe because we've gotten this course and that course and the other course and this seminar and that workshop. And now the steps are all muddy in our head.
Yep. And that's the problem with getting too much education. And it goes back to where we started with theory versus practice. You know, you get all of this education and you have all of this education floating around in your head, and you can even go to a party and you can tell people exactly what to do. This is how you close a deal, but you never actually did it because you're not taking that action. So guys, listen to Justin. What he's saying is, you know, you got to stay focused. You can't want to do lease options one day and then the next week you want to do apartment syndications, and then, you know, next month you want to do mobile home investing. You have to find a niche, find that niche that's suited for you, and you have to be willing to sacrifice your time, energy, effort, and money and learn that niche and be a good steward with what you learn, that education, and get out there and take action. That's exactly what you need to do. So Justin, you're doing this, you're doing it in multiple states. What's next for you?
What's next for me is I've been developing the Real Estate Wholesalers Club for the last couple, 2 or 3 years. And the club is really based on the concept that we all need community and we all love community. We need one another. I've got another saying. I've got a lot of weird sayings, but one of them is nobody gets rich in this business alone. And I mean, nobody. And that's really true. If you think about it, you've never done, nor will you ever do a real estate transaction all by yourself. There's always other people involved. Yep. And so we have to embrace the idea of community here. And there's no better time to embrace the idea of community than when you're a newbie, when you're just getting started and you need other big brothers and sisters in the business. You need people who can help field your questions or role play with you, seller objection over the phone, things like that. So what's up for me in the future is I really see the coaching as a big important piece of my life. It has been for the last couple of years, but I see it becoming more and more important. The club is growing. Their skills are growing. They're getting the recipe. They're getting it lined out. They're developing and who they are and what they want and going for it. They're starting and they're helping and supporting one another. I've never been a part of anything that made me feel any better than that, man. And good. I really want to invest what I can into other people in that way.
Yep. Okay. So that's good. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Justin.
No, you're good.
But yeah, investing, you know, your time, energy, and efforts into other people, man, is definitely good, especially when you come to a place where you say, okay, I know how to do this. You know, let me show other people, because it's an eye-opening situation. You know, when you sit at home and you like, okay, I just made $13,000 from sitting at home, you know, and listeners, I'm going to be sharing this with you guys in the future. Also, during this whole coronavirus time, my wife has been working from home, and I told her, I said, look, I am going to show you exactly what I do. And I promise you during this time, you'll make some money. So she just closed her first deal.
Wow.
Well, actually it's going to be closing here coming up. We're in the midst of finalizing everything, but she's going to make 15 grand, you know, kind of just in these, during this coronavirus time, doing exactly what we're doing. So the possibilities are out there.
Oh yeah. Gosh. You know, I think we're going to do more deals this year than we did last year. And I've been trying to tell people that it's the best time to get started now, right now. That's the important part, is that you start today. Start doing something. You're like, well, I don't know how to do all this. Okay, start doing something that you know to do and do it today. And then tomorrow you'll do something else a little bit, and you'll just something productive. That's all. Just do something productive towards this every day. And you'll be amazed at the progress you make.
Yeah.
People are waiting for what? I don't know. Waiting. It's a loser's game to
Yep.
wait.
It's
More
those,
millionaires.
it's those small efforts, Justin,
Yeah.
it's those, okay, today I'm going to do this. It's not going to be anything huge, but it's going to be something small. But then you look back 6 months, you look at all of those small efforts and you're like, wow, look how far I've come in 6 months.
Oh yeah,
You
absolutely.
know?
And if you were to add up all the time, you'd be amazed at how much time you put into it over 6 months, just doing a little piece at a time,
Yep.
a little bit at a, hey, and congratulations to the missus too, man. That's impressive.
Yeah. She's not celebrating yet. She says she want to wait until, closing actually happens,
Smart gal,
Smart woman. So,
Yeah.
yep. So, Justin, let's start and prepare to take you into our hot seat questions. We are going to put Justin on the hot seat. Come on, Justin. We're putting you on a hot seat. All right.
Yeah.
So answer these questions as quick as possible, but
Yeah.
feel free to elaborate. Starting over, what would you do differently?
Ooh. I would get a coach right away that knew what he was doing, and I would follow him without deviating
Gotcha.
everywhere.
Yep. And I'm a firm believer, because I had that mindset in the beginning. I was like, you know what? I can learn all of this stuff. There's tons of videos on YouTube. There's tons of information out there on Facebook. And I was like, I'll just learn it on my own.
Yeah.
I did learn it, but there's a lot of gaps that I didn't get. And if I had that mentor early, like you said, I would have been further along, faster. So absolutely, guys, get you a coach, get you a mentor, go out there, find somebody, even if it's somebody in your local area that's doing, 2 or 3 deals a month. Sit up under their table, see if you can get some of those crumbs that fall from the table, and see if you can learn. What is your greatest commodity outside of capital, Justin?
People.
There you go. And it's funny, every time, and I consistently ask this question, and almost every time people always say, it's my team, it's my people, the people that I work with. So
you can't do this business alone, man.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, you're going to need a title company or a closing attorney, right?
Yep. You're going to need somebody.
You're going to need a seller. You're going to need a buyer, and that buyer is your customer. This is what kills me, man, is people in the wholesaler business, and they're like, oh, I don't care about a buyer's list. I'll just send my deals out on Facebook. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. You can do that. But the buyers are your customers, man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know any customers.
Right. You got it. That's a good way to put it, Justin. Great way to put it. What drives your ambition?
My hate for having to listen and take orders from other people. I know that sounds absurd, but I just want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, man. And because of that, I'll do whatever it takes to make this next deal happen, with ethics and integrity. Because I don't want to go back to the job ever.
There you go. You don't want to go back to being just over broke.
Right.
So, what do you believe is your greatest challenge, if it's internal or external?
Yeah, internal. Greatest challenge. Yeah, greatest challenge is internal, and it's a confidence thing, like everybody. I mean, I'm just a normal guy. I was born in Kentucky. Nothing special about Justin. He's a preacher's kid.
There you go.
And I got 2 years of college, and then I dropped out, and then I went back later and got another 2-year degree. Like, who does that? I got two 2-year degrees. I can tell you in this instance, 2 + 2 does not equal 4. Okay, so
that's a good one, Justin. That's good.
So I've had to come up here. You know what I mean? In my head, because I felt like I was like a lot of people. Maybe I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. And it's okay. Just get born again on the other side, just change this mind up here, and develop into somebody different, be who you want to be. And that's a challenge for me. I'm doing that today even, you know?
It's and a lot of it is psychological. That's
Yeah.
something that I deal with, every day. That's why every morning I have to get up and there's certain routines that I have to go through just to get this right up
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the latest business or real estate book that you've read that you could recommend somebody to read?
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I'll have to go grab it, man. Cause well,
Go ahead. Don't worry about it. What you got?
well, I don't see, the title slips my mind, man. I don't know why, because it's the most popular book ever.
Go ahead, go get it.
I'm in the middle of it. Hold on.
There you go. Shut Up Money. Justin didn't talk about it and he didn't share it, but he talks about having that shut up money. And that shut up money is when people always say you can't do something or it's not possible or anything like that. Once you get that check and you can show them, hey, look, this is possible, it's doable, that normally shuts people up, that closes their mouths so they don't so they believe in what you're doing. I was just telling them, Justin, about your shut up money, hashtag shut up money. And that's just letting people know that, people are going to talk about you. They're going to be naysayers, but once you get that check, that shuts them right up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. Hey, the Go-Giver.
There we go.
Go-Giver.
Okay.
This is like the most popular book ever. People were asking me, hey, have you ever read the Go-Giver? You ever read the Go-Giver? I was like, no, I haven't read that. It sounds like a good one. And then somebody was like, hey, shut up, man. Just let me get you the book and then you read it.
All right, there you guys, you have it, the Go-Giver, and it's a bestseller also.
Yeah.
So go out there and get that book. So wrapping up, Justin, here, tell us where we can find you. I know you have the Facebook group. Kind of give us some insights on where people can find you, if they want to learn more about you, about wholesaling lease options or wholesaling in general.
Yeah, if folks want to go to realestatewholesalersclub.com, realestatewholesalersclub.com, there's a free course that I have for you there on the website. It's how to do virtual lease options, and it comes with the full agreements package and everything, so you can get started. We have people who do deals just off the free stuff. Beyond that, there's some advanced courses and advanced agreements packages and things like that, like the outsourced lease options 2.0. And then we have mastering the phone to get property deals 2.0. I'll give that to you for free too if you go to the website and you put your email address in there. But realestatewholesalersclub.com is where it all starts, man. Go check us out. We got lots of group coaching opportunities. It's affordable. That's the community I was talking about.
All right. Sounds great. So that's, give it to us one more time, Justin.
Yeah. realestatewholesalersclub.com.
Okay, great. I'll make sure I have all of that information in the show notes. Justin, parting words for our listeners, man. What's one thing that you can say to them to inspire them to move forward and progress down their journey?
Yeah. Stop doubting yourself. Stop questioning your knowledge level. You already know, probably if you're watching this podcast, you probably already know 100 times more than the seller you're going to be talking to, than the homeowner out there who is a lead for you. You probably know 100 times more than that. You just need to start today and do it. Do it.
All right, guys, you hear from Justin. Start today, get out there and do it. Justin, I want to appreciate you, man. Thank you again for being on the show for us, man. You rocked it out. You did an excellent job.
You
gave some great insight, great technique. We talked about psychology also. So I want to appreciate you. Guys,
thank you.
My welcome. My new listeners, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you. We love Equity family. Again, thank you, Justin. Guys, see you next week. And remember to always enjoy the journey. All right, guys, that was Justin Chamness, and he is doing lease options and wholesaling, and he's doing it virtually. So again, one of the key things that he said is stop waiting. Guys, it don't take a whole lot of money. It don't take a whole lot of education. You just have to get out there and get started. I know that one of the things that you're probably dealing with is the imposter syndrome. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But the imposter syndrome, and I'll just give you a brief snippet of it, is you feel that you are not that guy or that gal that can really educate somebody on real estate because you believe that you don't know everything that you need to know. But guess what? Like Justin said, you know probably 100 times more than your sellers or your buyers. So you just got to get out there and take action. You know, it's Marcus Maloney, the Equity King. I'm telling you, and I'm giving you permission to get out there and take action. Remember, if you need additional tools, resources, information, go to marcusemaloney.com. That's marcusemaloney.com. All of my social media handles is MRCS Maloney. That's Twitter, LinkedIn, IG, everything is mrcsmaloney.com. So go out there, get out there, make some equity happen, make things happen. Guys, I enjoy it. I love you. Make sure you enjoy the journey. Thank you for listening to today's show. I picked up some great actionable items, and I'm sure you did as well. If so, let me know. You can always reach me via social media at facebook.com/MRCSMaloney, Twitter at MRCSMaloney, and of course, IG at MRCSMaloney. You can also always reach me via email at mmaloney@equityri.com. Make sure you reach out to our guests as well. You can always find their contact information in the show notes below. If you have not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Join the family. And while you're at it, leave us a 5-star review. This is how we tell if we're providing you with what you need for your journey. If there's someone you would like for me to interview, or if there's a subject matter you would like for me to cover, please let me know. Finally, if you're looking for additional information about real estate investing, go to equityrealestateblog.com. Also, youtube.com/Marcus Maloney. Until next time, family, always enjoy the journey.